to one of my favorite plays, Hamlet here, the timeless Hamlet. This video is just a brief introduction to Hamlet, and we're going to read Act 1, Scene 1. So back to our Get Started page. You see all the videos there. Please watch the videos, follow along. And we'll read from Folger Shakespeare. I'm reading from the Signet Shakespeare as well, so I have a book open, and I'm going to be reading along with this. Signet Shakespeare has notes, and there's notes online, but I'll close read the acts and scenes and talk about them a little bit throughout. Feel free to follow along. So click on Folger Shakespeare, and this has all the plays, uh, commentary, background, all this stuff. I'm not going to go into a ton of background on stuff. We're just going to close read the plays and time into class. So if we go to Hamlet, introduction to the play, and you have the full synopsis here. Spoilers in the synopsis if you don't know. Hamlet is Shakespeare's most popular and most puzzling play. It follows the form of a revenge tragedy. Think of our themes, right? One of our themes is revenge, in which the hero Hamlet seeks vengeance against his father's murderer, his uncle Claudius, now the King of Denmark. Much of its fascination, however, lies in its uncertainties. Among them, what is the ghost? Hamlet's father demanding justice, a tempting demon, and angelic messenger. Hamlet's not literally mad. He's pretending throughout. He's a smart guy. He's a really smart guy. Once he is sure that Claudius is a murderer, why does he not act? Was his mother Gertrude unfaithful to her husband or complicit in his murder? What's fascinating about this play? Hamlet is around 30 years old during the play. The play was written, Shakespeare worked on it 1599 to 1601. Think of some of the themes of our class, this indecision, when we're indecisive. I mentioned this earlier, I believe. Hamlet is the first character in literature who is indecisive, who doesn't act right away. And everything that has come since Hamlet, the indecisiveness, the inability to act, being stuck, derives from Hamlet, right? He's a breakthrough character, kind of that melancholy, that anguish, the ennui, and we'll see that throughout how he's haunted too, right? And of everything we've read, Hamlet feels guilty for not acting right away about his father's death. He wants revenge. He's indecisive and he's melancholy, and we'll see that here. So let's jump into the play here. All right, there's a synopsis. Here's Act 1, Scene 1. A little bit of background on Act 1. Here's the synopsis of Act 1. Most of the action of the play occurs in and around the castle at Elsinore in Denmark. King Hamlet is dead, and Prince Hamlet has returned to Denmark from school in Wittenberg, Germany, only to discover that Queen Gertrude, his mother, has married his uncle Claudius. Claudius has had himself crowned king. Hamlet is informed that what is apparently the ghost of his dead father has appeared to the palace guards. We'll see that here. When he later confronts the ghost, Hamlet learns that Claudius murdered his father and hastily married Queen Gertrude. Throughout the play, the ongoing border disputes and political machinations amongst Denmark, Norway, and Poland serve as a backdrop for the action in the Danish court. Prince Fortinbras, whose father was killed by Hamlet's father, is a man of action. Fortinbras is a man of action. Hamlet, seemingly for most of the play, is a man of inaction, and his character serves as a foil to the contemplative Prince Hamlet. Polonius, his son Laertes, and daughter Ophelia are also important characters in this drama. Polonius and Laertes are concerned about Ophelia's romantic involvement with Prince Hamlet and caution her against such a relationship. Polonius also provides fatherly advice to Laertes as he leaves for Paris. So this is what happens in Act 1, Scene 1 of Hamlet. So let's just walk through this. Bernardo, who's there? Here are the guards, right? Here are the guards at the beginning. Nay, answer me. Stand and unfold yourself. Long live the king. That long live the king's a strange response there. Bernardo, he. You come most carefully upon your hour. 'Tis now struck 12. Get thee to bed, Francisco. Long live the king. Unfold who's there, disclose who's there. Long, perhaps a password, perhaps a greeting. For this relief, much thanks. 'Tis bitter cold, and I am sick at heart. Have you had quiet, guard? Not a mouse stirring. There's a famous phrase, right? Nothing stirring, not even a mouse. Well, good night. If you do not meet Horatio and Marcellus, the rivals of my watch, bid them to make haste. So here comes Horatio and Marcellus. I think I hear them. Stand ho, who is there? Friends to this ground, and liegemen to the Dane. Loyal subjects, so these are loyal subjects to the king. Give you good night. O farewell, honest soldier, who hath relieved you? Bernardo hath my place. Give you good night. Holla, Bernardo. Say, what is Horatio there? A piece of him. Welcome, Horatio, good Marcellus. And here's the first mention of the ghost. What has this thing appeared again tonight? Right? I have seen nothing. Horatio says, 'tis but our fantasy, and will not let belief take hold of him, touching this dreaded sight twice seen of us. Therefore I have entreated him along with us to watch the minutes of this night, that if again this apparition come, the ghost, right? He may approve our eyes and speak to it, confirm that we saw the ghost, right? They're talking about the ghost here. Tush, tush, 'twill not appear. Sit down a while, and let us once again assail your ears that are so fortified against our story. What we have 2 nights seen, so they've seen the ghost 2 nights. Well, sit we down, and let us hear Bernardo speak of this. Last night of all, when yon same star that's westward from the pole had made his course to illume that part of heaven where now it burns, Marcellus and myself, the bell then bearing one, and here comes the ghost, enter ghost. Peace, break thee off, look where it comes again. In the same figure like the king that's dead. Thou art a scholar, speak to it, Horatio. So it's in the visage, it's the king. Looks he not like the king? He looks like the king. Mark it, Horatio. Most like, it harrows with me with fear and wonder. It would be spoke to. Speak to it, Horatio. What art thou that usurpest this time of night, together with that fair and warlike form, in which the majesty of buried Denmark, so the majesty of buried Denmark, that's the king, the buried king of Denmark, your majesty, did sometimes march. By heaven, I charge thee, speak. So here's Horatio addressing the ghost here. It is offended. See, it stalks away. Stay, speak, speak. I charge thee, speak. 'Tis gone and will not answer. How now, Horatio? You tremble and look pale. Is not this something more than fantasy? What think you on it? Here's Horatio. Before my God, I might not this believe without the sensible and true avouch of my own eyes. Is it not like the king? As thou art to thyself, such was the very armor he had on when he, the ambitious king of Norway, right, there's a king of Norway, combated, so frowned he once, when in an angry parle he smote the sledded Pollux on the ice, 'tis strange, so the poles and sledges, 'tis strange. So it looks like it's the king. Thus twice before, and jump at this dead hour, with martial stalk hath he gone by our watch. So the king is passed again. In what particular thought to work I know not, but in the gross and scope of mine opinion, this bodes some strange eruption to our state. So this is an important part here. Something's not right, right? Something's going wrong here. if the ghost of the king is walking. Think of what ghosts come back for when we think of the notion of haunting and ghosts. They're not at peace, right? They want something. They either want revenge, they want you to right something wrong. They're haunting, right? This bodes some strange eruption to our state. Good, now sit down and tell me, he that knows, why this same strict and most observant watch so nightly toils the subject of the land. Why does this ghost, toil the subject of the land? Makes the subjects toil. And why such daily cast of brazen cannon and foreign mart for implements of war? Why such impress of shipwrights whose sword task does not divide the Sunday from the week? What might be toward that this sweaty haste doth make the night joint labor with the day? Who is it that can inform me? Here's Horatio. That can I, at least the whisper goes so. Our last king, that's King Hamlet, whose image even now appeared to us, was, as you know, by Fortinbras of Norway. This is the ghost, right? The image. Thereto pricked on by a most emulate pride, dared to combat in which our valiant Hamlet. We get some backstory here. This is important. This is everything, think of plays. We don't get summation in a play like in a novel or a movie. This is backstory. This is everything that's happened here. Valiant Hamlet. We know the king. Valiant is good, right, just. This tells us that King Hamlet was a good man. For so this side of our known world esteemed him, did slay this Fortinbras, who by a sealed compact well ratified by law and heraldry, did forfeit with his life all those his lands which he stood seized. To the conqueror, against the which a moiety competent was gauged by our king, which had returned to the inheritance of Fortinbras, had he been vanquished. As by the same comart and carriage of the article design, his fell to Hamlet. Now, sir, young Fortinbras, of unimproved metal, hot and full, hath in the skirts of Norway here and there sharked up a list of lawless resolutes for food and diet to some enterprise that hath a stomach in it, which is no other, as it doth well appear unto our state, but to recover of us, by strong hand and terms compulsatory, those foresaid lands so by his father lost. And this, I take it, is the main motive of our preparations, the source of this our watch, and the chief head of this post-haste and rummage in the land. Here's what goes on, right? Preparations, the source of this our watch, and a chief rummage in our land. This is the backstory of why they're out here and what's going on. The fountainhead, the origin. So we get a little backstory of the play here. This is an important moment of everything that's has taken place up until this point. I think it be no other, but and so well may it sort that this portentous figure comes armed through our watch, so like the king that was and is the question of these wars. So the portentous figure here. And here's Horatio. A mote it is to trouble the mind's eye in the most high and palmy state of Rome. A little ere the mightiest Julius fell. We get more, some more stuff going, more backstory here. The mighty Julius fell. The grave stood tenantless, and the sheeted dead did squeak and gibber in the Roman streets. The break in the sense, the sheeted dead did squeak and gibber in the Roman seats. The break in the sense which follows this suggests that a line has dropped out. A stars with trains of fire and dews of blood, disasters in the sun and the moist star, upon whose influence Neptune's empire stands, was sick almost to doomsday with eclipse, and even the like procuse of feared events, as harbingers preceding still the fates, and prologue to the omen coming on, have heaven and earth together demonstrated unto our climatures and countrymen. A mote it is to trouble the mind's eye. So why has the ghost come back? What is the ghost doing here? They're talking of reasons for that. And here comes the ghost again. But soft, behold, lo, where it comes again. I'll cross it though it blasts me. Stay illusion. Stay illusion. So this is uh, what Horatio says to the ghost, and he holds his arms open wide here. If thou has any sound or voice, he's addressing the ghost, speak to me. If there be any good thing to be done, that may to thee do ease and grace to me, speak to me. He's beseeching the ghost here. If thou art privy to the country's fate, which happily foreknowing may avoid, O speak. Or if thou has uphoarded in thy life, extorted treasure in the womb of earth, ill one, if you've done ill, for which they say you spirits of off walk in death, speak of it. Stay and speak. Stop it, Marcellus. So Horatio is beseeching the ghost. Why are you here? The ghost is silent. What do you want? What's your reason for stalking and haunting here? Shall I strike it at it with my partisan? The pike, right? Is this? Should I hit it with my staff here? Do, if it will not stand. 'Tis here, 'tis here. The ghost exits. 'Tis gone. We do it wrong, being so majestical, to offer it the show of violence, for it is as the air, invulnerable, and our vein blows malicious mockery. I love these lines here. We do it wrong to offer it the show, to try, it is the air invulnerable, and our vein blows malicious mockery. It was about to speak when the cock crew, and then it started like a guilty thing upon a fearful summons. I have heard the cock, that is the trumpet to the morn, doth with his lofty and shrill sounding throat awake the god of day, and at his warning, whether in sea or fire, in earth or air, the extravagant and erring spirit hies to this confine, and of the truth herein this present object made probation. So the proof here, what's the proof? Marcellus, it faded on the crowing of the cock. It, the ghost. Some say that ever against the season comes wherein our Saviour's birth is celebrated. This bird of dawning singeth all night long. And then they say no spirit dare stir abroad. The nights are wholesome, then no planet strike, no fairy takes, nor witch hath power to charm. So hallowed and so gracious is that time. So I have heard and do in part believe it. But look, the morn in russet, mantle clad, walks o'er the dew of yon high eastward hill. Break we our watch up, and by my advice let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet. So they're like, Horatio and Marcellus, what the hell's going on? There's the ghost of King Hamlet will not speak, but is haunting them. And it's come a few days in a row. And they decided they're going to tell Hamlet here, right? They're going to tell Hamlet. Let us impart what we have seen tonight unto young Hamlet. For upon my life, this spirit, dumb to us, we don't know why it's here, will speak to him. Maybe it will speak to Hamlet. That's his father. Do you consent we shall acquaint him with it, as needful in our loves, fitting our duty? Let's do it, I pray. And I this morning know where we shall find him most convenient. So that's Act 1, Scene 1. The ghost appears to Marcellus and Horatio. We get a little bit of the backstory. King Hamlet was valiant. He's a good king. But he's here for a reason, and we don't know that reason. And it is going to be revealed soon.